Hello, Booknerds. Welcome to the Booknerds podcast. And we are super pumped and excited for today. We have the wonderful Jugal Hansraj with us. I'm sure, here in India, I think, Jugal, you are in New York right now.
Yes, I am.
Great. So, here in India, everybody would know you as this movie actor, director, and of course, you turned writer in 2006 as well. But, reading this one, nobody would have guessed, that some years later I would be reading this book from by you, and what a world you have created. First of all, congratulations. This book is called The Coward and the Sword, and I would, of course, I have so many questions about it. I'm rambling because I'm so excited to kind of know more about the behind the scenes of this one. Congratulations, first of all.
No, thank you so much, firstly, for all the kind words. Even earlier, you just said that you read the book and you enjoyed it. I'm very, very happy because this book is truly a labor of love for me. So when somebody, appreciates it, and it was a lot of work, as you can imagine, you love books, you can imagine what kind of patience and work it takes to actually write a book all by yourself with
Yeah,
no team to help you. So
right.
I'm really heartened by your feedback and the kindness and love you've shown to the book. So thank you for that.
I didn't receive the book really on time, so I was reading it. On a Kindle. So I was like, but when I received it, like this morning, and I hate the courier guys for this because this book has to be experienced when you are reading it in the paperback. Because
Yes.
the entire experience, the illustrations, the paper quality. I'll get technical here because it is so damn good.
Yes,
You
I agree. I just feel very lucky that HarperCollins really believed in the book so much that they gave it all this love and care, and it's even better than I imagined. It would turn out.
Yeah,
So I'm really grateful to them for that.
yeah. I have been reading a lot of children books this year, especially, but the quality is top notch. It's right up there. Let's talk about, first of all, let's define this world for everyone because not everybody would be aware about what we're talking about. So I really wanted to talk about this first, you
Right.
know, right here.
Yes. The map.
Yes, the map. It is, I wanted to bring this closer because it really gives you perspective when you're going forward in the book, if you know the geography of it all. So, did the map come first or the book come first? That was my question.
No, see, the book came first. The world was slowly developed as I went along. But I myself am an avid reader since childhood, and I've been reading lots of books. Fantasy fiction is one of my favorite genres. So whenever I'm reading a book like this, if there's a map, I feel very happy. Hey, I'm also since childhood a geography nerd. Even now, when I'm bored, I just open Google Maps and go to some city and zoom in, and all that stuff.
Wonderful,
So for me,
wonderful.
like to have some kind of visual representation of where this world is, because it's completely imaginary. There's nothing
Yeah,
in the real world to show you what this world is. So a map kind of puts, I mean, it's a rough map. It's not a detailed kind of map, but it gives the young reader a kind of idea. It draws them into that world. And I used to, in fact, every time my story would progress, I would go back and look at a map when I'm reading a book of this genre. So just to, where's this town they spoke about, or where this.
yeah,
So I think it really helps
yeah.
to to give a visual to the world that's being created. And I'm really glad that HarperCollins also agreed. Tina Narang, who was the editor, and she's in charge of all the children's book division, and she immediately said yes to the idea. And Ruchi then came up with this wonderful map,
Yeah.
uh, and it was just great.
Yeah. And shout out to HarperCollins on that count. Thanks for letting
Definitely.
us do this. And okay, let's about talk about Prince Kadis. Is that the pronunciation?
It's a proper now. I mean, I was thinking of
Okay.
it as Kades, but I mean, it
Kadis.
can be
Okay.
whatever the reader would like to,
Great. Great. And only people who have read the book would know that Kadis is like, it's Siddharth. That's your son, right?
Yes,
That's your
yes,
son or daughter?
yes, my son, my son.
Your son, right? So
Yes.
okay, that is I don't know if it's a spoiler or what. It's just a
No,
random
it's
thing.
fine. I put his name at the start of the book. I can
Yeah,
just
yeah.
get it
So
through.
that's how I figured it out. So, but Prince Kadis, I mean, he's so afraid. He's not courageous, but he is in this situation where he needs to, do a lot. I mean, go on this superb adventure in enemy territory, and from Kofu to Molonga. And pardon me if I get any pronunciations wrong,
No, no,
because
it's all up to
I
you.
just
It's
read
all
the book.
imaginary. So
So yeah, this coming of age story, it is so inspiring as well, because youngsters especially, I mean, are looking for this kind of content. They are at this age where they look at fantasy fiction especially. I mean, we meet a lot of young kids. They look up to fantasy fiction, and for sort of try to kind of follow these people. I mean, it could be anybody. It could be Harry Potters and
yeah.
others of the world. So tell us more about Prince Kadis, and what is this journey?
So first, actually, let me start at how this came about. First, actually, the world and the setting came about first before the characters and the story, because I love this genre, as I mentioned earlier, and even the films like Harry Potter series and the Lord of the Rings and so many movies of this genre. So I love this whole visual of it, and being a filmmaker and actor, first the visuals come to my mind.
Yeah,
So I thought
I
of
know.
yeah, I thought of an opening
Is
shot,
it tough? Is it tough?
and
I'm sorry to cut you off, but is
yeah,
it
yeah.
tough? Being a writer. I mean, if the visuals come to your head first, it's such a difficult thing, kind of. Perhaps I don't know,
It
because
is, but like, see, to each their own. I'm not a trained writer. I don't have a trained process. So, but I've been in the movie business for a long time. I've directed a couple of films as well. So, my first instinct is to think of it as a movie. So
right.
I actually, like, when I go to sleep, that's how the story came about.
Yeah,
When I go to sleep, sometimes I don't get sleep. So for the first half an hour till I actually doze off, I imagine stuff.
yeah,
And having being a fan of this genre, I would imagine this kind of kingdom and how it
yeah,
looks. And obviously, as I said, being from the films, it starts
yeah,
with a fade in, the
yeah.
whole visual, the white shot opens
Wonderful.
up, and then I thought this looks nice. So
Yeah,
I started creating this world in my head, and then the characters came up. And about the prince, it was very easy to think of a heroic prince when one thinks of a brave prince, like, or kingdom. There's always a brave character, like in Lord of the Rings, you'll have Aragorn and all these kind of characters. But I thought I wanted to break that, make him young, because I wanted to appeal to young readers. The theme was also something for them.
true.
So I thought, if what if he's not brave?
Yeah,
And then from there, with that thought, I started thinking of, what if, like all of us, we all have our own issues and fears and anxieties. What if this is his issue, and he has no external factor to make him anxious? He's not an abused child, he's not an unhappy child, he's not an orphan. He's from a loving family and a rich family and all that. But even basically everybody can have an issue, right? That's what I'm
right.
trying to say.
True.
So and then the fun for me was for him to overcome all this, because we all are struggling to overcome whatever problems or struggles we all have in life,
Yeah,
and to see actually someone come out of it is quite heartening. It kind of gives one hope that I can do it too.
yeah. We
So
have
that
a
was the thinking behind it.
we have a strange comment, but it's fine. I mean,
Thank you, thank you, Jasleen.
I think Jaslyn is crushing over you or something. Something is
Thank you.
happening. Good. So yeah, I really wanted to ask you, because it is so hard. I mean, uh, uh, I was discussing this with my wife, and she has always said that, why do you have such anxiety? I mean, why do you have a great upbringing? And it was quite personal for me. In fact, I didn't go into the book thinking that it would be I would read beneath the layers so much, but I don't know, I did. And I thought, okay, this prince has got so many issues going on. He's sent on this, whatever you call it, it's a
Yeah,
project, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
he has to overcome all this. And at one point, of course, uh, I'll quote from the book, and it is said that why can't I be as brave as my father, or even as brave as Sarah and Shijo? They are the
Right.
friends,
Right.
of course, and partners in crime, for that matter. Shonin, the king's uncle, it was easy to attack or to defend with weapons, but it took real courage to go out to the enemy and extend a hand of peace, letting go of all pride and ego. So, these issues, I mean, a lot of folks try to, evade them, although they
Right.
are there. And it is so that's why I would like to compliment you, because this uh, fantasy novel, especially for the youngsters, could be kind of, it's relatable, and especially a lot of people are going through this. I mean, it could be exams or anything, it could be
Yes,
something
exactly.
like
So
that.
firstly, thanks once again for the kind words. Secondly, as I said, we all are facing if there's nobody in the world without any problem. It may not be your problem, it may be a different one, but there's always some struggle, internal struggle we are all facing in some form or the other, either with family or career or finance or health or anything kind of issue, or anxiety for that matter.
Yeah,
So for me, like I thought, I mean, just seeing somebody having a problem and then overcoming it in a very
right,
positive way with and also all these things you read out, that's come from my observation of life, my perspective of life, which is a lot influenced by my Buddhist study. I've
yeah,
been practicing Nichiren Buddhism for many years, and
yes,
we read a lot about peace and the
right,
anti-war philosophy, and
right,
just kind of everyone coming together to help each other out to make,
right,
so all that definitely is in my subconscious, and all that came out. Plus I wanted to, there was a, I mean, I started the book before the pandemic, but obviously halfway through the pandemic hit, and there's so much, you put on the news, somebody's fighting somewhere, there's some border issue in some corner of the world, there's some planes flying over somewhere, there's always some,
right,
everything's on the edge.
true.
So I thought, for young readers to have some positive thoughts,
A
some
great
positive
thought.
vibes, and yeah, and something for, because they're going to grow up and kind of be the influencers, right?
Right.
So I
I
thought,
I would
even if it
actually,
affects one person, one
yeah,
child, why not?
I would actually encourage parents to read this book to their, children, because or read it with their children, because it has got a lot of layers. I mean, you can delve into those layers or not. I mean, it's up to you. You can just have fun as well. I
Right.
had a lot of fun also at the same time. It's up to you. But so there is a lot of humor in the book. I mean, it
Yeah,
is like
thank you.
awkward.
I was aiming for
Sometimes
that. I was aiming for that, so I'm glad.
it is awkward humor as well, because people who are awkward, they would
Yeah,
be like, they would be, I mean, it can be a serious issue, but it was very funny at some places.
yeah.
So especially the easier dead than done line, it is so funny, and it comes a lot. I like four to
Yeah,
five times, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah, yeah. I didn't want to overdo it, but I'm glad, glad it kind of hit
Yeah,
home.
but it was welcome, because a lot was going on. I mean, there is lots of mystical, I mean, should I call it mystical, a lot of fantasy going on, so it was fun. How do you kind of balance the humor, because you are, I mean, in the plot, and kind of the right tinge of humor, because you said that you didn't want to overdo it as well.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's not like a laugh out loud kind of slapstick kind of book. But again, also on the other hand, I didn't want it to be preachy.
Yeah,
I was saying something very serious. But if I'm appealing to a young, reader base, young adults or children, they are not interested in like somebody coming and teaching them something, or being preachy about it. They want to read it to have fun, and in the process of having fun and being entertained, if they pick up some good things and positive things, then
right,
that's the best kind of conduit to pass it on to them.
right,
So obviously, plus I'm dealing with young characters, like they're teenagers, they're 16 or thereabouts,
yeah,
and that's a fun age. And if I don't make them have fun, or make them awkward, because I remember myself, speaking personally, growing up as a teenager, I was a very awkward teenager, as many are and many aren't, but I know I was.
yeah,
And now when I look back, I laugh at myself, that how silly all these things are.
yeah,
But at that time, that you're actually going through all of that. So, and the characters are 16, so why not put them through? And one generally draws from personal experiences.
True.
and
True.
influences around you. So
Yeah.
I put all that in, but fun was a very important factor, and I'm glad you're picking up on that, because otherwise there's no point. A book
True.
is,
True.
it's fiction. It's supposed to be entertaining. It's not a non-fiction
Right.
book. So I wanted it to be fun as well as say something
Yeah.
nice.
Otherwise, you could have written just something about war or something, right? And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Then it becomes a non-fiction,
yes, yes,
and this becomes like a movie I would want to see. So I wrote that down, and I'm glad that Harvard Collins felt the same way, and so
right.
do readers like you and
So you are a fantasy fiction reader, and I mean, if you are a fan of the genre, it must be tougher to kind of execute it, because sometimes you go into a genre perhaps new, and I mean maybe there is no baggage as such, because if you know too much, then you kind of want to do more justice to it. What were the things you were worried about in fantasy, especially?
See, worried about, obviously there are some very, very high standards set by, say like J.K. Rowling,
Yeah,
Tolkien,
yeah,
George Martin,
yeah.
and so many, the Percy Jackson series, and there's so many, Narnia, C.S.
There's
Lewis.
this contemporary writer as well. Have you heard about Tomi Adeyemi,
No,
the
actually, I should look.
Afro-American? You
What's
should
what's the
check
name
her
of
out.
the book series?
Children of Boredom. No, it's right here, I suppose. It's the author is Tomi Adeyemi. There's
Okay,
a
I'll, I'll,
two-part
I'll
series.
remember that. I'll remember
Yeah.
that. I'll
There's a
definitely read it, as I like
Yeah,
this.
so she's an Afro-American, and she has written this book, and it is fantasy, of course, but it talks about people of color as well. So these all these new authors. I mean, I will include you in the same genre, because not a lot of authors are kind of writing in this
Yeah,
space.
yeah. This is more like the
Yeah,
older stuff, I think,
yeah.
that is there still,
Oh,
like
oh,
C.S. Lewis.
somebody tells me. Okay. Oh, Neha tells me. Children of Virtue and Vengeance. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
that.
I'll definitely
Great,
get
great.
that book and read it. But yeah, obviously there were some very high standards set, and it would be kind of foolhardy to me to try and say I can surpass that. And but on the other hand, there was no pressure on me. This wasn't a commission book.
Yeah.
It kind of it came to my mind after the birth of my son,
Okay.
and the few months that I was sitting at home, with my wife and my newborn. So there was not much going on. I had some work going on, but so whenever I was free, or when my son was napping, or maybe late into the night, there was no structured way of me writing. I would started putting down
Yeah.
notes,
Yeah.
and because there was no pressure of me being commissioned to write this, so there was no pressure of me trying to surpass anyone. In my
Right.
mind, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
What if this is also a story? Was my
Right.
attitude.
Yeah.
So when it flowed, I was taking my own sweet time. At one point, I even stopped writing for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Around, so I started this in early 2018, and
Yeah.
as I said, I was busy with my family and some other work, so I would write very slowly. First, it was notes, and it took me a whole year. By early to 2019, I stopped writing
Okay.
because I didn't follow the structure of trained writers do. They have a beginning, middle, and end.
True.
I didn't have. I was just going along,
Yeah.
and suddenly I realized now I don't know what to do. These guys have reached Molonga, and now what?
True.
Now
True.
how do this? How do they? This is a very lofty thing they are doing, and how do these kids go up? I don't know what to do, so I stopped.
But it is the difficult part,
Yeah.
actually.
So, and I didn't have a goal in mind when I was writing.
Yeah. Right.
So then 6 months later, when things settled down, and I was again feeling settled because I was traveling a lot at that time. And then again, it was the holiday season. It was around this time, November in 2019. Actually, exactly around this time when I started, second half of November, when I picked up my laptop and said, "Let me revisit it." And
Right.
I started reading. I read the whole whatever half I'd written, some 20,000, 25,000 words or something. And then I said, "Let the characters decide where to go." So I started thinking from their point of view, what would
Right.
Shijo do, and what would Kadis do, and what would
Right.
Sarah and all these other characters.
Yeah.
So it started moving forward again quite slowly. But by March 2020, when the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
and suddenly there was nothing to do, and initially we were all very scared. Nobody was even stepping out of the house except to
Right.
like buy essentials. So then I was locked in the room, and every afternoon my son would nap for about a couple of hours. That's when I would write for those 2 hours a day, and that went very fast
Right.
because when you're confined and have nothing to do, this becomes an outlet.
True. True. True.
And then I finished it in, like, I think 2 months after that.
I
Um,
think that is the case with reading as well. I mean, if
yeah.
you are kind of, you have your own time and you are not disturbed particularly. I mean, of course, I mean, we both of us have kids, so we'll understand how tough is
Yes.
that, kind
Yes,
of.
you have
So
two, so yeah.
yeah, yeah, it is,
Well, I
it is
just
hard.
want to comment on. Yeah, thank you, Kanti.
Yeah, with an Indian touch, of course. Yes, yes. And okay, great. So I wanted to know about the camaraderie between you, the editor, and the illustrator. How does it
Right.
work? Because in a book like this, every element is so important. I mean, if you get the illustration slightly off, then the message is sort of distorted. So how does that work remotely, especially? I mean, you said a
Yeah.
lot of it was written during the pandemic.
Yeah. No, definitely. So, firstly, I finished the book around, I think, April, May. I sent it to a couple of friends who love this genre,
Yeah,
and I said, please read and give me feedback. And they're very busy, and they took the time out and gave me some very valuable feedback. Um, and then I did a edit, and then I wanted to send it, so I got in touch with my agent in
right.
Delhi. All this was done remotely, like via email and phone.
Yeah,
And I requested him, firstly, very kind of Mr. Shambhu Sahu, to take up the book and represent me immediately without even reading it, because he was involved in the first book, so he kind of had some
yeah,
faith. And I requested him, please, can you send it to HarperCollins first? And I don't
yeah,
know anybody at HarperCollins, or I don't know how the publishing world works. I just
right.
had one book published.
Yeah,
So it was given to them, and they got back, I think, within a month. So by August or something, they had already gotten back, August, September, and they had liked it. And that's when I actually started interacting with them. I signed up with them, and then they started giving me feedback for an edit. And
yeah,
that's when I started liaising with Tina Narang, who's heading the children's division at
yeah,
HarperCollins. And it was such a pleasure. She was so sweet natured. This is all over email. I've never met her,
yeah.
but instantly sometimes you get a positive vibe from somebody.
True, true.
And then when they sent me the feedback, it was given in a very encouraging way rather than a criticizing way. Like,
Yeah,
whatever didn't work for them was
yeah,
never it doesn't work or it's not good. It was
yeah,
always, what if, and an
yeah.
explanation was given for every edit requested.
Right.
So suddenly, like, even I opened up, to them. And obviously they know more, they are in this field. And
Yeah.
I always believe, when somebody knows more than you, leave it to the experts. And they have a
Wonderful.
lot of experience in this field, a lot more than I have, and I decided to follow their lead. And it was just wonderful, as it's all teamwork.
Yeah.
So their edits actually made it even better. And then, as far as illustrations came, again, I said, whoever you're okay with, let's try, let's see how that goes. They brought Ruchi on board again, somebody I've not met. I
Yeah.
had a different take on the illustrations, to be honest, initially, a little more graphic,
Right.
dark and edgy kind of feel
Right.
was in my mind, but I said, let's see what she brings.
Yeah.
And she brought this beautiful watercolor feel to it,
Yes.
rather than a very, like, dramatic
Yes. More
kind of look.
graphic novel like sort of,
Yes, that's what I
immersive
was
sort
in
of.
my mind for the cover, and I didn't know how many illustrations should be there in the book. Again, I left that to HarperCollins, and
Yeah.
we discussed back and forth. But when I saw her work, I said, let me take some time out and, you know, see it over the next few days, because she sent a few illustrations. And I said that this is also a creative person. They all have their own take. She's read the book, and this is her take on it. And I found it very gentle and very flowing.
True.
And I said it goes with the feel of the book, because that's how the book is written. It's not an edgy book.
Right.
It's a very smooth book, like I would say, it
Yeah.
flows smoothly and gently. And then suddenly I saw it in that light, that these illustrations match the text
Yeah.
rather than jar. And
Right.
and then obviously, Tina was right about this, and Ruchi did a marvelous job, and then so on and so forth. They kept sending me things, and I got more and more excited when I saw the illustrations, and when I got to know that they're going for the sepia tone on the pages.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, because my whole the narrative style I attempted for this book was a fable.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I wanted a once upon a time kind of feel to it,
Right. Right.
as if a grandparent is reading out the story to a grandchild.
True.
I was
True.
told by many people too that this is wrong in today's day. You have to have a first person narrative, and this is not going to work. And I was discouraged by a lot of supposed people in the know that this is not the way to write it. But I stuck to my guns. I said, this is what my book is. It's a
Right.
fable. And
Yeah.
a first person narrative will take away that once upon a time dreamy feel to it.
True.
So I stuck with that, and I'm so glad that it was accepted, and the illustrations and the whole look and feel just matched the book better than I could have imagined. So definitely teamwork,
Yeah.
and thanks to the entire team there.
It is just perfect. I mean, although I wouldn't have, I would love to have a look at that graphic novel version as
It
well.
wasn't done. It wasn't done. It was only in my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not an artist, so I couldn't actually
Yeah.
articulate that and sketch that out. But I'd never voiced it to anybody. It was just in my head.
Right.
But when I
No,
saw
I
this
wish,
and
I
when
wish, I wish,
yeah,
I wish just kind of second or third edition maybe. I
yeah,
don't
why
know.
not? Why not?
Yeah, yeah, it could be interesting. I mean, more like a dark Hansel and Gretel sort of thing.
Yeah. That was initially in my mind, but then this just goes with the text a lot more because the
Right.
text is not edgy and
Yes,
dark.
it is not like that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. It's
I
quite a happy.
yeah, yeah, it is very happy, and in fact, that's why I love it. Uh, you have commented on war and the futility of war also in the book. I mean, and we all know that especially Southeast Asia has been, bugged by this, a problem a lot, and even the Middle East.
Yeah,
And of course, you have written it in a sort of very light way, but the message has gone across clearly, especially to someone like me who has read loads and loads of books on partition and non-fiction as well. So, how did what did you want to achieve with this, or was it like it was organic, or what was the thought behind this?
no, it was organic, but as I said, very influenced by my Buddhist study that I do from nature and Buddhism. Also reading the works of Daisaku Ikeda,
Yeah.
who's a big advocate of world peace.
Yes.
He every year he sends a peace proposal to the UN. I read a lot of his works. I study his works. So subconsciously, a lot of that came into my head, and obviously, what he talks about makes so much sense in today's time that why can't everyone has their same kind of problems? Why don't we get together and solve the problems rather than creating more?
Yeah.
And it's not just subcontinent; it's something I've seen over the years around the world. When you read or when you see the news, when you read the newspaper, there's always some strife. So I thought it would be interesting to see that fiction book where instead of going to war, as most of these books of this genre do, we're trying to stop one.
Yeah.
So I hadn't read that. I don't know if it's there out there, but I've read quite a few books in this genre. But I've seen a lot of, in this fantasy world, armies going to war, but I've not seen anyone
Yeah.
stopping the one. I thought
I
that would
don't
be
think
nice,
so.
and it goes well with what I've been reading and studying as well. So
I don't think so. That's the case. I mean, it would be a first. I mean, uh, people can always comment and tell us if
yeah,
we are wrong.
I would like to know if there is, if
Yeah.
somebody kind of,
I don't
there's
remember
so
something
many
like
books that I haven't read as well.
Yeah, great. So, of course, my final question was that first of all, can we hope of seeing you in India doing a book tour or something? Is that on your mind? And what is your take on perhaps book club communities and reading communities? You have experienced the West as well. How does it work there? What would you want to be different in,
Yeah.
especially in India?
No, so I was in India actually. It worked out very coincidentally that I was there for a filming project which was delayed because of COVID, and things opened up, and I was there last month.
Yeah.
And the day I landed was the day the book was being released,
Okay.
or a day or two before. So I
Okay.
actually they sent me some pre-copies. I got some from the publisher, and when I landed, the first thing I did was, open that packet and see the book physically. I had
Yeah.
seen a virtual kind of PDF file, but So
That
but
doesn't do it
eventually,
justice.
yeah,
That
no,
doesn't
yeah,
do
I
it
agree,
justice.
I agree.
Not at all. Not a
So
book like this.
no, I was really glad and to actually see it not in the flesh, but in the pulp, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yes.
But yeah, and then so there I didn't have time for a book tour because I was there for filming, and then I took off and
Right.
finished my shooting schedule, and I had to rush back because my I have a young son, and
Yeah.
staying away is always difficult. You're a parent
Yeah. Yeah.
at that age, so that didn't happen. But I'm here virtually for talking about the book in whatever way I can,
Yeah.
and hopefully I'm already working on a sequel to this, a book two of this.
Yeah.
So hopefully for that, when that comes out,
Yeah.
we can do a book tour and things will be even better, COVID wise, hopefully.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah.
Being indoors with a bunch of people, everyone will feel safe, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we can do that for book two, which I've already
True.
begun writing.
True.
And HarperCollins is also like the plot
Yeah.
line that I sent them, and they've told me to go ahead with it. So
This is so exciting. I mean, what a time to be in the children's writing space. It is booming, at least in India. I am not
yes,
aware about the West,
yes,
but it is like a lot of great content is coming out. And of course, we hope that it makes it to live action as well with you at
I
the
do
helm. I
actually.
think.
That's my ultimate dream is to, as I said, that's how I saw it first.
Yeah.
I saw it as a movie, and I would love to see that dream realized.
Yeah.
And in time, I'm sure that will also
I'm sure.
happen with the right people. Um, because it's again, I feel it's got something entertaining and something very good to say, even as a movie.
Right.
And then if there's a book two and book three, maybe I don't know about book three, but I'm just right now slowly working on book two. It's going a bit slow, but I'm enjoying it very much.
Yeah.
And then there can be a series of films as well.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, with
I hope that
OTT,
works
I
out.
mean, yeah, with
Yeah,
OTT,
there's
there's
so
so
many
many more opportunities. Yeah.
platforms
Yeah.
where
Great.
now one can put
Yeah.
content out of this nature.
And not worry about that infamous box office, which you have been
Yeah, which
worried
is always
about.
like a big sword.
I know.
I've faced that as an actor and director also. So
Must be nerve
it's
wracking.
all you need is someone to believe in it. Like I was lucky to
Yes.
get HarperCollins to believe in it, and hopefully, if I can get lucky with a big studio to believe in this, and then maybe you can see it like a
Yeah.
series of two or three films
Yeah.
as
Why
the
not?
books are.
Yeah. Well, I love both versions of you. I watched Mohabbatein in a dark theater and loved it to bits. And I love this Jugal Hansraj as well, who writes these awesome books, The Coward and the Sword, and so much more coming from you. We are hoping for a lot, and we are very positive, and we hope that for that book tour as well with book two. So
Thank you so much. That means a lot, and I am in fact very encouraged. As soon as I put this laptop off, I have 2 hours. I'm going to sit and resume work on book two. So it's like a shot in the arm. What you've said, I'm feeling very encouraged, and you've given me a dash of energy to
yeah, why not? Because not many people are writing well in this genre, Jugal. That's a fact. Just
yeah,
reading a lot of
especially for this age group. For this age group
true,
is,
true, true.
and also I've noticed with this age group, there's a lot of distractions with social media and the
Yes,
iPads, and so it's even more difficult to get them to read something.
right, right. But if it is good, people will pick it up. I'm pretty sure about it. If they can pick up Percy Jackson and Harry
Yes.
Potter, if it is good, they'll pick it up. I'm pretty sure about it.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you
the
so
aim.
much.
That's the aim. Let's hope that happens.
Thank you so much for being on the Book Nerds podcast. It was great talking to you, and I'm going to narrate these stories to my daughter this tonight, and
So happy to
hopefully,
hear that. So happy to hear that. Thank you. And from one book lover to another, thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.